Mm. Hey, tourists, it's your boy Domination. This is Back of the Base. The Chuck of the Deuces Outtakes, baby. Man, does back and notice this. Real men wrestler, fake men wrestler, real wrestler, figure wrestler, and proud to our preacher, preach on. And today's topic we're going to talk about is, man, we're going to talk about a special topic of the unsung previous episode, but this is very special, special, dear to anyone that should know about this brother. And and today we're gonna talk about, and this is gonna be a true dedication. True. It's actually a true dedication. R.I.P. to the falling of temptation, man. David Ruffin. We're gonna talk about this brother, man. It's sad about this brother's life and how his life turned. But the good thing about this, man, he just lived of a day of his life. And the great thing of the music he left behind when he was in Temptation and went to solo. And his brother is a singer too. So let's talk about Temptations, man. I mean, let's talk about David Ruffin, who part of the Temptation. David Adley Ruffin, born David Adley Ruffin, January the 18th, 1941. And that's the day he was born. He died of June the 1st, 1991. Yeah, when I heard about his passing, it was pretty sad, man. I was at least 4 years old when he passed away. Rest in peace. Was an American soul singer and musician, most a temptation by his work as one of the lead singers of the Temptation in 1964 and 1968. The 1964 and 68. During the group Classical 5 period, at it was later known, he was the head voice on much famous song as My Girl and Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Ain't too proud to beg. Ain't too proud to beg. Known for his unique, roughly and artistly and prolifically tone of vocals, Ruffin was ranked as one of the 100 greatest singers of all time by the Rolling Stones magazine in 2008. Yep. God bless his soul. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989. For his work with the Temptation, follow Motown recording artist Marvin Gaye once said adoringly of Ruffin that I hear in his voice a strength. I hear in his voice a strength my own voice lacking. Basically, he was a great singer than him, but they both great. But he felt like David was a better of singer than he was, But they both great, and that's good. Little David Bush, man. He was born. He was born Wyandotte, Mississippi, in January the 18th, 1971. Died in June 1st, 1991, age 50. West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, U.S. Genres: soul, R&B, pop, and disco. He started a career in 1956 and then ended in 1991. Vocals and drums and singer for all the labels, Adley and Chess and Motown, Warner Brothers, RCA, and the group of Temptation. His brother named Jimmy Ruffin, rest in peace too, and rest in peace to Eddie Kendrick, and rest in peace also, and rest in peace Dennis Edwards. Yeah, they all should be rest in peace, man. Except Otis, he the last member of the original founding of the group. The early life. Ruffin was born David Adley Ruffin in the rural unconstructed rate community of Wyandotte, Mississippi, 15 miles from the town of Mississippi. He was the third son of David Ruffin, a Baptist minister, and article of Ruffin. His siblings are Quincy B. Ruffin, Ronald Lee Ruffin, and Jimmy Lee Ruffin. Ruffin also have another sister, Rosa, who died in fatally. That's sad. Ancestors. David Ruffin's parents are both native of Mississippi. His father working as a truck driver at numbers of mills, and his mother work out of their home. Early parents have moved from Alabama to Mississippi because of the harsh circumstances of living after the American Civil War. Prior to live in Alabama, David Ruffin great grandparents, John Ruffin and Sierra Ruffin, have moved from about to County, North Carolina. John Ruffin was a Civil War veteran from it had to be from the North, fought in with the 14 United States colonists of heavy and artillery means. Yes, there's nothing wrong with it, Childhood and dorsal sight. Ruffin's father was strict and Ruffin's father was strict and at the times roughly violently abusive. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because Ruffin he went through a lot. Ruffin's mother died 10 months after his birth in 1941, and his father married a school teacher in 1942. As a young child, Ruffin, along with his other sibling, older brother Quincy and Jimmy, and his sister Rita, immediately traveled with their father and their stepmother as a family gospel group. Open shows for. Hold on for a second, people. Hold on for a second. Where was I? Childhood endorsement scenes. Okay, we already read something like that. They said his father was violently abusive. Okay, where we at? Okay. Open shows for Hadley Jackson and the Five Blind Boys of Mississippi. Along with others, Ruffin sung in the choir, at a Mount and cinema, method of church, talent shows, and however else he could. In 1955, at the age of 14, he left home under the guardianship of a minister, Eddie Bush, and went to Memphis, Tennessee, with the purpose of pursue of the ministry. At 15, Ruffin went to Hot Springs, in Arthur, Kansas, with the jazzy musician Pentagon newborn singer. There they play at the 50 Grants Ballroom and Casino, and ability as Little David Bush. Ruffin continued to sing at talent shows, working with the horse as a jockey club, and eventually becomes a member of the Dixie Night Ganges. He also sang with the Soul Stringeret briefly after the departure of Johnny Taylor. Yeah, Johnny Taylor. Rest in peace. It was in Ruffin's travel as a teenager that he met much later. Okay, as a teenager that he meets much later popular personnel as Elvis Presley, rest in peace, Little Richard, rest in peace, and Frankie Lyman, rest in peace. Bobby Womack, maybe rest in peace, and startling singers, and slowly in silver tones, and the Dixie Hummingbirds. After some of his singing idols, much as Sam Cooke, rest in peace, and Jackie Wilson, rest in peace, have left gospel music and gone to sort of like a Ruffin also turning in that direction. Eddie Bush and his wife, Dorothy Hans Hellison, took the then 16-year-old Ruffin to Detroit, Michigan, where his brother Jimmy was to pursue pursuing a career in music. I mean, while predominantly working at the Forward Mile of Company. That's what saved the Detroit, the car city, and all that other stuff, man. Until things were falling apart when jobs can't get back, man. I don't know much about it, but I hope so. I don't know if I think they working on still cars, but not as much a car places they shouldn't have before it would save Detroit. I'm gonna read some and not all of it. Some in the early years career. Okay, after move to Detroit with the Bushes, Ruffin recorded his first release. His first release recording with the song "You and I," 1958. Being with "Believe in Me," 1958. Those songs are recorded at Vanilla Records and released under the name Little David Bush, using his last name of his guardian. Ruffin would later recall how he's invited recording a different kind of music, strongly influenced by the smooth pop R&B of the time when he first recorded in Detroit for a mile. So, in 1957, Ruffin met Barry Gordy Jr., then a songwriter with the ambition of running his own label. Ruffin lived with Gordy's father, a contractor, and helping Pops Gordy do constructive work on the building that would become Hid Valley, USA, also known as Motown. The headquarters for Gordy and Tina Love Records, later Motown Records label. Ruffin's brother Jimmy would evenly be signed to Tina Miracles Records label as a artist. Yep. Because his first song, "As We Come Up on Broken Hearted," that's his brother's first hit. And then David Ruffin came up with his hit "You and I." Ruffin also working alongside another ambitious singer, Marvin Gaye, as a disposable at Nana Records, a Chester label run by Gordy's sister. Gordy Finquan and his songwriter partner Billy Davis, asking about Ruffin in Detroit Free Press in 1988. Gordy Finquan said he was very much a gentleman. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. But the thing that really impressed me about Ruffin, what really impressed me about David, was that he was one of the only artists I saw who hearing like he was on the stage. According to Ruffin, both he and Gay would pick records for Untitled Records. Okay, Ruffin created music and both the vocalist and the drummer in the voices of masters, a doo-wop sound combo, and evenly started recording at Untitled Records and record the song I Am in Love being with one of those days, 1961, with the Voice of Master, a group which featured Motown producer Lenny Mount and Dusdale. Others groups members, including the members of the Originals, Ty Hunter and C.P. Spinner, Hawk and Dixie, and the Voice Master and the original founder, Waterloo and Gaines, at one time. The Voice Masters also including another future Temptation member, Melvin Frank, one of the numerous people David would reclaim as a cousin. I did not know that because they said something about it. Ruffin did sign to Untitled Records as a solo artist, but his work in that time was unsuccessful. Yep. Until he got in the group. Yeah, that's Blue. That's Blue. He would call his cousin. They not related, but they kind of like cousins or some set. But then you never know. Ruffin evenly meet a up-and-coming local group by the name of Temptation. His older brother, Jimmy, went on a Motown reverse tour with the Temptation and told David that they need someone to sing together in their group. David shared his interest in joining the group with Otis Williams, the founder of it, who lived very close to Ruffin in Detroit. Rest in peace to Blue, also known as Melvin Frank, you're also known as Blue. In June 1964, Ruffin became a member of the Temptation after founded a member in Berkeley and Al Bryan was fired from the group. Yeah, that incident. If y'all don't see the movie, y'all know what I'm talking about. Ruffin's first recording session with the group was June. I mean, okay, my bad. Ruffin's first recording session with the group was January 9, 1964. And in June in 1964, in January 1964, in June 1964, through both David and Jimmy are considered. David was given the edge, and thanks to his performance skills, there are displays when he joined the Temptation on stage during the label a New Year's Eve party in 1963. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna read all of it because there's so much stuff in here, and we're gonna read some more. Few, not a lot, but few. After joining Temptation in the best receptive Ruffin invited singing backgrounds while the role of lead singer mostly between Eddie Kendricks, and Paul Williams. He did sing a few lead parts, both on stage and in the studio, during his first year with the group, but his lead on the studio tracks would not be released for over a year, as they are not considered good enough to showcase his vocalist. However, Smokey Robinson, who produced and co-write most of the Temptation materials at this point, saw David during this period as a sleeping giant in the group with a unique voice that would mellow and yet gruffly. Robinson thought if he could wrote just the perfect song for David's voice, that he could have a smash hit, and it did. The song was being something that Ruffin would but belt it out, yet something that it was also a melodic and sweet. When Robinson delivered his goal, this song, My Girl, was recorded in November 1964 and released a month later. It becomes the group's first #1 single in 1965. My Girl clearly becomes the Temptations' second song, and even with Ruffin to the role of lead singer and a frontman. That was a good hit. They had 6 songs like My Girl, It's Growing, Since I Lost My Baby, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Beauty is Only Skin Deep, I Know I'm Gonna Lose in You. So much hits. And you see many more. Oh yeah. And here's the issues that's going on. By the 1967, however, the difficulties with Ruffin becomes an issue for the group. He become addicted to cocaine and begin to missing of rehearsals and performance. Refused to travel with the other Temptation. Ruffin and his then girlfriend, Timmy Terrell, travel in a custom limo with the image of his trademark black Reynolds glasses painted on the door. After the Supremes have their name changed to Dr. Ross and the Supreme in early 1967. Ruffin felt that he could become the local point of the Temptation, just Donna Ross was for her group. Yeah, he did thought that, and began to demand that the group name should be changed to David Ruffin and the Temptation. This led to a number of disagreements between Ruffin and the group. This effective leader, Otis Williams. Yeah, if you saw the movie where he grabbed her in the wrist, I don't know if this is true or not, because some of David Ruffin's family members said that is not David Ruffin that they know. I don't know. That's according to the group say, and according to the Ruffin's family, that they David Ruffin, regardless if people really believe he's this unperceived, seminized man, or be sweet, very polite, amenable man, who knows? But rest in peace to David Ruffin, man. But really, he ain't have to suffer. And we don't know. Only God could know what David Ruffin, what things he went through. Sad. It really is. This man went through a lot in his time. But you can't hurt everybody else because everybody hurt you. That's just how some people brought up. But that doesn't make it right hurt other people if you don't want other people hurting you. No one deserves no pain. No one, not man or woman. Even if you in pain yourself or not in pain to anyone. Get some help as much as you can. For you won't hurt others won't hurt you. In addition to the group's problems with Ruffin's ego, he begins to equate it into the Temptation financial records and demand a account of the group's money. This caused friction between Ruffin and Gordy. Yep. In June 1968, the Temptation agreed that Ruffin have finally crossed the line when he missed a June 22, Cleveland, Ohio date with the Temptation in order to tempt a performance by his new girlfriend, Barbara and Galev Martin. Dean Martin's daughter. Wait a minute, he dated Dean Martin's daughter? I didn't know that. Wow, that's crazy. Brother and Galev and Martin, Dean Martin's daughter. Ruffin was fired on June the 27th and replaced with Dennis Edwards, a former member of the Carls, who has been a friend of Ruffin and the group as a whole beforehand. Through Ruffin himself personally, an engagement of Eddie to take his place, Ruffin begins to turn up unpronounced at Temptation concert during Edwards' first few days with the group. When the group start to perform a Ruffin edited song, much as My Girl or Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Ruffin would suddenly walk onto the stage and take the mic from Edwards' hand, that was cold, and steal the show. Bears the group, but entertaining the fans. According to Edward, the adulterance of and Ruffin's appeal convinced the other four of Temptation to give Ruffin a second chance. But when he was arrived late to what was to be his return show with the group in Connellsburg, Maryland, the Temptation decided to keep Edwards and drop consider of rehire Ruffin. Yeah, there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of problems with David Ruffin. I mean, David Ruffin should have never done that. That was great because he felt like the way they changed the name to Diana Ross and the Supreme, it should be David Ruffin in Temptation. But he wasn't the founder of the group. The founder of the group was Otis Williams, who was just like the girl group Supreme. I forgot who's the founder of that group. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If y'all don't know her name, if I don't know her name, y'all know. In October 1968, Ruffin filed suit against Motown Records and seek a release from the label and accounting of his money. Motown counts of suit to keep the singer from leaving the label, and evenly the case was settled. The settlement and acquitted Ruffin to remain with Motown to finish out his invited contract. Ruffin joined Motown as a solo artist and always have a separate contract from other Temptation, which some feel caused a lot of the infighting within the group. Yep. And he did have his own solo, My Whole World to End. That was his first song. But I think it's failed on the chart part. It's not unsuccessfully was been successful. It wasn't been successful, rebel unsuccessful. And then he did a record with his brother, My Brother's Keeper, and all this and that, and his collaboration a lot more. And let's go to his personal life, relationship, children. Ruffin was married twice. His first marriage was to Shirley Burden in 1961. With the whole, he has 3 daughters, Cheryl and Kimberly. He has a son with the long-term relationship girlfriend, Gina Entitled Chapter, he met in 1964. She named their son David Lee Spindler by Ruffin, later changing his name to David Allie Ruffin Jr. The 3 living together for years. In 1967, I mean, 1976, my bad. 1976, Ruffin married Julie Hamilton after his death. Julie would add Ruffin to her last name in the memory to their relationship and for continue with her son. 2003, Spelling Ruffin purchased a memory. David Ruffin, My Temptation was in detail Ruffin televised an abusive behavior. Yeah, it was. It is sad, man. It's sad about this man going through a lot of stuff. And the drug addiction and legal troubles. Ruffin fought the fought treatment for his drug addiction in 1967. And in 1978, Ruffin was arrested at a birthday party in Memphis. He was charged with disorder of conduct for refused the several requested to leave the area after he accusation making threats against some police officers, some policemen, and their families would be transported to jail. Ruffin denied making threats and was released on his own recognizable in 1982. Ruffin was charged $500 and sentenced to 6 months in a lower security prison in Indiana for failed to pay taxes announced to more than 310 over 3 years, 1975 to 77. He serving 4 months and released early for good behavior. On May 19, 1986, he pled no contest to charge of receipt and considerably of stolen property worth less than $100, a Coley 38 converts of handgun, and was fined $50 plus $100 in court costs, charging of assault and a battery, and received stolen property worth more than $100 are dropped. In July 1987, Ruffin spent a night in jail after he was arrested after resulting at a Detroit house. He was charged with the cocaine possession with intention to distribute less than 20 grand of cocaine. Damn, that's a lot of drugs. He was released after post a 1.500 pound. That was a lot of money. Ruffin was found not guilty of possession, but was found guilty of using the drug. He was sentenced to 2 years probation and 50 days of community service. In 1989, he was ordered to enter a drug rehab center after violating his probation 3 times. He completed a 28-day drug treatment program at the Adderall and Catholic Institute in New York. And here is the sad day of his death, man. After complete a successful month-long tour of England with Edwards, with Keenan Rick and Edwards, David Ruffin died on June the 1st, 1991, from a drug overdose of crack cocaine. Ruffin reportedly collapsed at a drug. Ruffin roughly collapsed at a crack house where he had gone with his friend Doug Brown. Probably that guy, and based on that guy what he was with. According to authorities, he was taken to the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, where he died from an alcohol reaction to drugs, cocaine. On June 1st, 1991, the Pennsylvania Inquirer reported that Ruffin and a man named Williams were split 10 vitally of crack cocaine hours before he died, and all through the cause of the death was ruled a accident. Ruffin's family and friends expect a foul play, claiming that a money abetment constantly for 40,000 was missing from his body. Damn. However, his girlfriend at the time, Showers, was not surprised when she was informed of his death. When David has a lot of money, he would have been able to do things that he wanted to do, she said. In the Temptation television miniseries, Ruffin's beaten body is depicted as being dumped in the street in front of a hospital where he died. It was also stated in the miniseries that his body remained unclaimed in a criminal for a week after his death. As a result, Ruffin Real Estate filed a suit against NBC and other major players involved in the making of the series, claiming pressure. According to the stuff sheriff in the case, Ruffin was actually taken to the hospital by a limo and was escorted to the waiting area by his driver, who is confirming the identity of his identified. Ruffin's children fought and stated that his body was claimed by one of them within a few days of his death. Ruffin's estate lost the lawsuit, but ruled against it was upheld on appeal. Ruffin's funeral was held at New Baptist Church in Detroit. Several members of the Temptations sang "My Girl." Stevie Wonder and Rita Franklin also sang at the funeral. Michael Jackson volunteered to pay for the funeral expense. Rest in peace to Michael Jackson, Rita Franklin. Man, that's big up for Mike for doing that for David Ruffin. It's a shame that no one else didn't do it, but Michael did it. Man, that's big. That's big what he did. But did not attempt the service. Jackson and Rod Stewart and Dudley Hall and John Osley and Donna Ross in the Supreme. Ruffin is buried in a section of 3 at Woodlawn Cemetery in Detroit. Legacy. Ruffin had many doors along with his fallen artists. Nobody could sing like David Ruffin. Amen to that. Said his close friend and college Marley Reeves of Marie and the Vivacity of a Fame. His canonical of label mate and a long time quantity of Marvin Gaye was particularly impressed with the value of Ruffin's voice. Gaye said, "Ruffin's work makes me remember that when a lot of women listen to the music, they want to feel the power of a real man." That is very true. Darrell Hall said his voice as a quality glorious and honestly that spoke to people on many motion levels. Ruffin himself said, "I don't know what kind of voice I have, but I really don't. It's just about the feeling I get from the song. Ain't that right? Rod Stewart said, I wish it would rain and jump out of the speakers and ruffle my soul. Stewart would later become friends with Ruffin. His voice was so powerful, like a horn on the on the Queen Mary. Stewart told Rolling Stone magazine in 2005, the cover art of Ruffin's last album, Gentleman Ruffin, was inspired for the art of rapper West Khalifa with mixtape Kush and Orange Juice. In 2013, David Ruffin was inducted twice into the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame at Cleveland State University. He was inducted as a solo artist and a member of the Temptations. Ruff is also inducted into the Mississippi Musician Hall of Fame. In June 2019, the city of Detroit revitalized David Ruffin Avenue at the second street name where he reportedly lived at 17385 Park Side. The cemetery was hosted by the founder of Robinson of the Natural Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. It was attempted by Ruffin's family and friends, including Martin Reeds, and Mary Wilson. On October the 26th, 2019, the city of the cemetery named the center of 8th Street near the Tennessee Theater. David Ruffin Avenue. Ruffin was born in nearly regular would not, but claiming Maryland as a home. Ruffin's family was intended for the honor and development of his star on Mississippi Arts, Entertainment, and Experience Walk of Fame. During the celebration, Jackson State University, Sonic Boom of the South, marching band led a parade. Literally, Richardson, head of the Natural Ramen and Blues Hall of Fame, and also Ruffin's son-in-law, present in the idea to marry Lieutenant. Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad that Ruffin been through a lot in these past the time in his life when he spent in the world. But the good thing about it, he didn't have to suffer. That's the good thing about it. And they said in the popular culture in 1998, ABC aired The Temptation, a 4-hour television miniseries about the group's career. Ruffin was portrayed by Leon Robinson, who is readily credited as simply Leon, as his professional name. The actor won highly praised for his performance, but Ruffin's family was quite upset by the way the miniseries portrayed him. I can understand, and filed a lawsuit against the series producers and Otis Williams. Whole memory has been this source material. The case was dismissed in the favor of the defense, with Williams later claimed that he has no real control over the printer of the material, which he is right. You got to blame the studio people, the exec, and those who run the entertainment is the problem. Grant Perbar of Brand Nubian, and referenced the singer on the 1990 single All for One, stated, I have a beat and swing a note as if my name was David Ruffin. Yep, remember that line. Rapper Machine Gun Kelly also preferred the singer on his 2013 song "Sing My Tears." Stated for every temptation shit. I guess I am David Ruffin, huh? Yeah. And there's so many more. I mean, a lot of people look up to David Ruffin, man. And he will be loved, and he definitely will be missed in many years to come. And here's his albums. In 1969, My Whole World End. 1969, Feel Good. 1970, I Am My Brother's Keeper. The Ruffin Brothers, David and Jimmy Ruffin. 1971, David, Issue until 2004. 1973, David Ruffin. 1974, Me and Rock and Roll Are Here to Stay. 1975, Who I Am. 1976, Everything Comes Up, Love. 1977, In My Sister. 1979, So Soon We Are Changed. 1980, Gentleman Ruffin. In 1988, Ruffin and Kendrick. Ruffin and Kendrick. David Ruffin and Eddie Kendrick. Yeah, rest in peace both, man. But let me say this, man. Regardless what you feel about this man, we need to show love and appreciation for David Ruffin, man, and his family and all the people that adored him and loved him and cared about him. Brother, you will be loved, you will be missed, and your music will live on forever. You finally at peace, and you don't have to suffer no more. It's sad, man. And we need help brothers and sisters who going through some trauma and pains like that, for they don't have to go through this anymore and won't feel like won't hurt other people won't hurt them. But only God can judge David Ruffin, but show that he loved and missed and very appreciated, and his music will live on. And David Ruffin, we love you, we miss you, and you will be always loved and never forgotten. Your music will live on. So you may rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace. But before I wrap this up, bro, and on March the 21st, we're going to release Unsung episode, the new episodes that's coming up. And yeah, stay tuned on that. So we're going to do premiums on episode on every Sunday. But a new episode going to become when the new episode is coming. I'll release it, and y'all will know when I see the episode. I'm gonna release it in my review. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll let y'all know from the new ones come out and the previous episode we got to finish up as well. So that's all I'm gonna say today, man. It's your boy Domination. This is Back of the Basic. Chuck of the Deuces. I would do text, baby. Until next time. All right. Peace. I'm out. All right. Peace.